I'm going to show you how to tie up a rib roast. They call this also a standing rib roast or a prime rib. This is the entire rib that comes from the meat packing plant. Shut up, cat. You can buy this from the butcher in the package, or you can buy it cut. This again, this is a full rib roast. This is about an 18 pounder. If you buy it from the meat cutter, you can buy it with the rib on or the rib off. Again, this is the rib off or the boneless version. You don't have to tie it up if it's a standing rib roast, meaning the bone is in. You can do it in the oven, you can do it on the rotisserie. Okay, so just think about what I'm talking about. So in this particular case, this is a full prime rib with the bone removed. I actually have the ribs over here, and on an 18 pounder, this is about 4 pounds of ribs. I took those off. I can show you that in a different video. What I'm going to show you here is just how to tie it up. I'm not going to show you how to cook it or any of the other stuff. One thing I will comment on this is that you want to take this out of the refrigerator about 4 to 5 hours before you cook it and before you trim it. So I just got through trimming this. As you can see, this is all really nice and lean here. Here's the top. I took most of the fat off of this because I'm going to do this one on the rotisserie. If you do this in the oven, in other words, you're going to roast it in the oven, leave your fat on it. You're going to go fat cap up, and you're going to salt and pepper basically is all you want to do to the top of it with the fat cap on in the oven. You can also add some herbs to it if you want to add some rosemary, parsley, garlic, whatever you want to add to the top of this if you're going to do it in the oven. There's really no point to add any herbs to it because if you're going to rotisserie it, because they're all going to fall off in the process of it turning. Okay. A lot of people will say go ahead and salt it because they want the salt to break down the fat cap. If you're going to rotisserie too, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's no point in salting it 4 or 5 hours or even overnight before. I don't care what anybody says. If you're going to rotisserie it, go ahead and salt it after we tie it up, which I'm going to do right now. And you only need to let it set for about a half an hour. I don't care what anybody says. The scientists will tell you otherwise. The chefs will tell you otherwise. I'm just telling you, go ahead and tie it up and then salt and pepper it. And that's really all you need to do on the rotisserie. So here I have a spool of twine. It costs about $2.25. Buy it at Walmart, your local grocery store. And all I've done here is just tied a double knot with a loop in it. You can see that. And I'm going to show you how to tie this thing up. I've turned it fat cap down. Okay, I've trimmed it up so the rib is gone. And I'm going to start on, you can start on either end. If you're right-handed, it's better to start on this end. Okay, so I just pull that string underneath and see, I pull it back. I learned this when I was 20 years old in college in the old Smith's meat department. So you're going to take that through, okay, and we're going to take that and pull it so that we have a loop. And here's the other thing is that pull this string so it actually falls on the floor behind you. Keep your roll over here, like so, okay? So we have a loop that we pulled through the loop. You see that? And then we're going to go about, an inch and a half in like that, right? And then so I've got the loop pulled through. See that? And then I'm going to take and I'm going to go back underneath it again. Remember, I got that loop pulled through, and I'm going to go back in again. And you see how I pushed that side? That's that original string I pulled through. I'm going to come back here. You see here? So I got 1 inch starting here. Pull it tight. And then the second one, I do the same thing with. And again, I've kept my fingers in here. right? And I'm gonna start to pull it tight, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Come back through the loop, pull it through, see that? And so now that very first one is already over here. Now I got a second one. Now watch, this is gonna make sense as we work our way down. Okay, so I got another loop through here. I'm gonna just keep it with my 2, right? And then I'm gonna go back under with my string that's on the floor. Use my thumb, pull it up underneath, pull it down here, right? And you can make these as wide as you want or as narrow as you want. And all you have to do as you go down, as you work your way down, this is called a butcher's knot, by the way. As you go down, just pull on this one, pull on the top one. And as you pull on this string that's on the floor, let me move my knife. As you pull on the string that's on the floor, okay, lots of slack here, it will tighten as you go. So remember, I'm keeping it on 2 fingers here, okay, and as I pull, and you can see I can pull on this string here, and it's gonna create a truss as I work my way down. Got that? So again, this is all loose, hanging off over to the side, and you can see as I move, you can see how my truss is tightening as I go. So if I want it close, so you can use this on a rib roast, you can use this on a pork loin, you could use this on a turkey or a chicken. See, all I'm doing is pulling my string here and my string here, and it's keeping it tight underneath. So I pull down here, right? So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna come back up, go through my loop, pull it, keep 2 fingers here, keep it. You see how I'm building a truss here? See that? That's gonna continue on as I go down. So I can pull this, and if I want to adjust my width here, I just move my strings. You see that? So if I want it perfect, like you see on TV or at the butcher block, you see how I can get these just exactly. I can just adjust these. I'll adjust this. I'll adjust this. I'll adjust this. I can adjust these as I go. And that very first one, by the way, I want it down here on the end. So I'm just gonna move these down, okay? I pull everything tight as I go. See what I'm doing? Okay, and then what do? I go back down, take my finger here, hold it, go underneath, right? And then I can put this wherever I want it to be. I want it to be about right there. It's about 1 inch from there, 1.5 inches. Pull tight, come through, 2 fingers, hold it. Do it again. Now, when you watch a butcher do this, they do this really fast, like this. And you're like, holy crap, how are they doing that? So I'm gonna do 2 or 3 of these really fast. And you're gonna be like, ah, that's way too fast. But as you practice this, just follow these really quick steps, and you'll see for yourself. Let me get to the end here, and then I'll slow down again. Okay, I got my 2 fingers in here. And again, keep a bunch on the floor, okay? Keep it on the floor. This is what butchers do. Pull it through. And I'll show you how to finish it here in a second. Just keep working yourself down. Again, if you're left-handed, just reverse the process. Okay, and this is why you'll see I keep pulling more string. I don't have enough string. I need a lot of string on the floor in order to truss this thing properly. Bring it around, come through. Okay, so now I just did 3 or 4 real kind of quick, not as fast as a butcher would, but I haven't. If you do this every day, you're gonna get really fast at it, like a butcher does. Okay. Okay, so watch that. So see your truss? See this? So now we can, it's kind of loose right now. We can adjust all our pieces of string to get them to make sure they're perfectly where we want them. See what I'm doing? See how loose it is? Now, watch this. Now, when I pull on this, and I'm gonna pull here, as I pull, all these strings are going to tighten up. You see how much I just pulled out of there? See how tight they get? Pull it, and you'll feel it in your hand. And I'm probably going to do at least one more here as I get to the end. Caught on something. Dang it. Okay, so if that happens, just go back up under here, pull that string around, just get all the way up to the bottom, bring it around. I'll show you the other side here in a second. Again, see how much string I got on the floor here. Okay, bring it around. I just lost it, and that's okay. Don't worry about it, because we're going to tie it off. So I got my fingers back through it again. So if you lose it like I just did, that's okay. Stop, put your fingers back through that, bring it back up and create another loop. Okay, and then what are we going to do to finish it? So we have this loose piece here on the end, and all we got to do essentially is bring it around and create a knot. Right? But before we do the knot, I'm going to show you how we're going to finish the truss, because that's basically what we're talking about. And remember, a whole roll of this costs you $2.25. So don't worry about how much string you have. Take your knife, cut it. Okay, now remember we have this loop right here, right? And we're coming around, so we're going to come right back through that loop again, and we're going to create, see what I did? Look, okay, so I went through this way, so it's straight through. I'm going to turn this over. You can turn it either direction, doesn't matter. I'm going to turn it over on this side. Okay, so I got the fat cap up now. Now I'm going to separate all my strings to make sure that they're all about the same distance, right? And this is how, I mean, you barely ever see this in a grocery store anymore. You'll see it in the butcher. A perfectly trussed piece of meat. See how loose that string is still? So we're just going to separate these so they're about the same perfect distance, right? And now I'm going to take the string and I'm just going to pull it tight. And it's going to pull all these strings tight as I do that. And it's going to pull that truss underneath that we just created nice and tight. See how it's pulling it tight? I just pulled about 8 inches out of there. And what I did is I just wrapped it around my fingers and pull it tight again. And it's tightening all those strings up like that. Now I'm going to take this, and you can pull it as tight as you want. I just want to keep it all together. It doesn't have to be tight, 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 tight like a shoelace. So see, I just wrapped it around there. Now I'm going to wrap it around this one time. See what I'm doing? Wrap it around. Wrap it around one time. Wrap it around one time. You remember we kept that string nice and long. Wrap it around one time. Wrap it around one time. See what I'm doing? Just wrapping around one time. I'm not creating a knot or anything. I'm just wrapping it around. Now this is how you truss a turkey, a chicken, a roast, a pork loin, anything like that. See, and I just worked my way down. Now, I can again move my, and you see it's not super tight. I don't want it super tight. All I'm trying to do is create essentially a cage to keep it all in. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it back over one more time. This is where we started, back over here. I'm just going to pull that string through, and then guess what? I'm just going to tie a surgeon's knot down here on the end. And if you don't know how to tie a surgeon knot, pretty simple. It's just, remember the old knot we tied when we were in school, in kindergarten? Instead of that as a single knot, we're going to do it twice. And it creates a double knot. And that's basically what a surgeon knot is. And then by doing that, and then once we've done that, we can just pull this real tight, as tight as we want it, and then just tie a knot in it. And then folks, we've just done a butcher's truss, is what that's called. Right? That's how you tie up the prime rib or any other piece of meat that you want. And then, by the way, when you're done with that, pull that tight. And as you can see, this is still kind of loose. I can still move this around. I don't need it to be super tight. You see my truss that I've created down here. And if I'm not comfortable with the surgeon's knot I just created, by the way, a surgeon knot means it won't come undone. Just do it one more time. Just do another knot through it one more time. Pull it tight. There you go. That's your excess.
What's longer, you think, Dan?